So glad you asked, right? So LongFi, you're going to hear a lot of new things here, and I'm going to refer back to this video. The internet is not just for people any longer, right? In 2013, the guys at Helium decided to build the next internet, right? The Internet of Things. And I did have it on the right slide, the Internet of Things. And, you know, my good friend Michael Stern introduced the whole concept of the Internet of Things to me. And he asked me, he says, how would you like to own a little piece of the next internet? Well, of course, my answer was, yeah, of course I would. You know, what's it going to cost me? And he said, well, let's investigate it. So I started investigating, called a lot of my friends, and most of them, in fact, almost all of them, knew nothing about it, which was a good sign to a certain degree. One person I called, he said, oh yeah, he said, I know about the Internet of Things. He said, I own vending machines. I've got vending machines and they're all connected to the internet and they place their own orders. And so the driver just comes by and he knows exactly what to bring those machines on each floor of whatever building. And I said, oh, that's interesting, you know, and I started doing some real close investigating of the Internet of Things, discovered that it was already an $800 billion a year industry. And there were 8.4 billion devices that was August of last year, 8.4 billion devices that would connect to the internet in some form or fashion using cellular data plans or Wi-Fi or whatever, right? Some way. I also discovered that by 2024, they estimate and predict that this will be a $2 to $3 trillion a year industry, and there'll be 70 to 80 billion devices. Every type of smart device that you've been hearing about and seeing will all be connected to the Internet of Things. So like I said earlier, it all got started back in 2013, and that hotspot that the gal was referring to on the video, there are now 63,832. I just took that number off of a screen here just right before we started. But we're just in the very beginning. When we looked at this in August, there were just almost 7,000. We're adding about 1,000 machines a day, right, to the network. But we're still early on because millions of these machines, you see, these machines are like little radio transmitters, and I'll get into that a little bit more as we move on in the in the presentation. You heard about the Helium cryptocurrency, right? Much better than cash, in my opinion. In June of 2020, it was 25 cents. I wish that you would have probably, I would have liked to have known about it so I could have bought some. And in May of 2021, it hit a high of $23.01. Today, I just looked at it, was $10.57. So it's secular, right? Up and down. People take their profits, it comes down, and so on and so forth. But Helium was built specifically as a utility token, not something that is speculative, but as a utility token to run the whole Helium network and Helium blockchain and the Internet of Things on, right? And you'll learn more about that as we dig into everything. So welcome to iHub. Welcome to you know, the future. You know, what we're going to try to show you is how you can own a share of the world's largest wireless network. Now, let that sink in for a second, because that's exactly what we're building, the world's largest wireless network. And there are some amazing things coming down the pike. And it all started with this. This is the original, right? That's what you saw in that video. So that's the original. I've got one of these, you know, it looks just like that. And we call it an IHub miner. They call it a Helium hotspot. I call it a passive income generator or a pig. And so for you, so I've become basically a pig farmer. And so that's a great way to get a conversation started. This is the second generation of our pig. This was built specifically for us. It has our proprietary software in it so that we can pay commissions out to everybody in Helium cryptocurrency. So that is a big one. So, and I'll show you why as we move down. What I love the most about what we're doing is that there's no competition. No, there's no Amazon competition. There's no Walmart competition. There's no competition of any kind. There's lots of people that are building different devices and software for the Internet of Things, but there's nobody that is building the network, right? That Internet network. So great thing. You make money with this little box. And this is what got me excited. When I started looking at it and I was able to look at machine after machine after machine all over the country and see exactly what these machines were producing, it was like a dream come true for me, because this is the marketers. I mean, if you're a marketer, this is the holy grail of products, right? Because you plug it in, you walk away from it, and it makes money for you 24/7, 365 without your involvement whatsoever. And that's what has caused the explosion to happen. There's no monthly fees or auto ships or anything, no licensing fees, no little gotchas, right? There's no recruiting. However, we have an affiliate plan. We have an affiliate plan and we pay referrals, right? So if you want to refer people, you can. If you don't have to. So no requirement. We're not a network marketing company or an MLM of any sort, of any kind. And again, something that I love, it's totally recession proof, right? It's COVID proof, because these devices are going to connect to the Internet somehow, some way, and they're going to do it whether there's a Republican or a Democrat in the White House. They don't care, right? Whether there's a recession, they don't care. They don't care about inflation. Everything is still going to happen. So that's what I love most about it. So what are these Internet of Things? What are these devices everybody is talking about? They're everywhere, right? There's smart appliances, smart homes, smart buildings, smart pet collars. So you can put a collar on your pet and find them anywhere in the country. There's trackers, there's asset tracking sensors. There's sensors for everything, whether it's water temperature, motion detectors, door sensors, and the list goes on, and almost anything you can possibly imagine. And what happens is that, let's say your neighbor has a smart refrigerator. In the middle of the night, the motor goes out. That sensor is triggered. It sends a message over to our network, right, to the Helium network, and it grabs a hold of the network, and we send that sensor's data, that little piece of data. Hey, the person that owns this refrigerator, you better call them. And we send that data up to the cloud so that the company can respond, right? So that's the kind of data, little pieces of data, the encrypted data that are on a one-way trip up to the cloud to get tended to by whoever needs to know. So let me introduce you to my good friend, Dr. Scott Tunis. Scott was my first, no pun intended, guinea pig. I told Scott about this whole project that I was starting to work on, and I said, Scott, let me do us both a favor. I'm going to get you a pig for your office. I'm going to get you a pig for your home. And when I get them in, I'll bring them down. We'll get them hooked up. And so he said, sure, why not? So here's a little video that Dr. Tunis cut.